The 10th year of my affair with Justin, I died in a car crash. He was my uncle, not by blood, but that's what I was supposed to call him. The same man I'd blackmailed into sleeping with me. He didn't shed a single tear. He handled my funeral arrangements with cold detachment and was engaged to the woman he'd always loved less than a month later. When I woke up, I'd been reborn, sent back to the time before I ever entered the Kane family home. This time, I decided to give Justin back the happy life he was supposed to have. But instead, he hunted me down like a man possessed. I knew Justin didn't like me, but I never knew he despised me this much. When the police called to inform him of my death, he just listened quietly, as calm as a bystander hearing about a stranger. The only thing he said was an order to his assistant to confirm it was really me. Then he handed off all my funeral arrangements to the mortuary. I desperately wanted to tell myself that this was just his personality, that he was actually heartbroken. But a month later, when he proposed to his old flame in a grand public gesture, I couldn't lie to myself anymore. My heart turned to ash. I willingly stepped out into the sunlight and let the scorching rays burn me away. As my soul scattered, I saw Justin turn his head, his eyes bloodshot, as if tears were about to fall. I knew they weren't for me. They were tears of joy because he was finally marrying the woman he loved. I thought a person like me would go to hell, but instead, I was reborn to the time before I moved in with the Kanes. I was the family's real heir, the one who'd been switched at birth by the parents of Dave, the boy who took my place. After I was brought back to the family, Dave framed me for one thing after another until everyone in the Kane household despised me. Even the staff treated me based on who was watching. Life was miserable, until finally, Justin took pity on me and let me move in with him. Thinking of that stern, aloof, and elegant man, I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. This time, I wasn't going anywhere near Justin. Without me screwing things up, he could live his life in peace. I glanced up at the time. In 3 days, Mr. and Mrs. Kane, my biological parents, would come looking for me. I had to find a place to live and move out before then to avoid any chance of contact with Justin. After finding an apartment, I quickly changed my college application, switching my choice from UCLA to Boston University, the farthest one from Los Angeles I could think of. As soon as I earned enough for tuition and living expenses, I would leave LA and never set foot in it again. I found a food delivery job online and spent my days so busy I barely had time to think about Justin. I calculated my earnings for the month. It was just enough to cover tuition. I was happily riding my scooter home when, from a distance, I saw a familiar black Maybach parked under my apartment building. My pupils contracted. In disbelief, I squinted at the license plate. The number, so familiar it was burned into my memory, slammed into my vision. I instinctively backed away. It was Justin's car. Justin was a creature of habit. He owned many cars but only ever drove this one privately. The others sat idle in the garage, falling into the hands of a car fanatic like me. I was confused. Justin's relationship with his adoptive brother, Mr. Kane, was terrible. Years ago, the old Mr. and Mrs. Kane couldn't have children, so they adopted him from an orphanage. A few years later, they unexpectedly conceived Justin. As a late-in-life child, he should have been doted on. But Justin went missing at age 5 and wasn't found until he was 15. By then, the old couple favored Mr. Kane, the son who had always been by their side, over the biological child who had been lost to them. Some people whispered that wasn't the real reason for their bad blood. Rumor had it that Mr. Kane had intentionally gotten Justin lost. Justin never mentioned it to me, so I didn't know if it was true. But their animosity was real, which meant there was no way Justin would come looking for me, a nephew he had never even met. A violent shudder ran through me, unless Justin had been reborn too. If so, he must know that I'd been reborn as well. I hadn't followed the original timeline and moved into the Kane household. I had even moved away in a short period of time. Anyone could figure it out with a little thought. I pressed my lips together. Justin must have realized that I was going out of my way to avoid them and wouldn't be joining the family. So why would he go to all this trouble to corner me? I couldn't figure it out. But I didn't want to see him right now. I was afraid I would break down and cry in front of him, irrationally demanding to know why he had to marry someone else. Someone's body was barely cold, while someone else was celebrating a new marriage. But what right did I have to say that? I was nothing more than a monster in human skin who had taken advantage of him. I thought Justin would leave if I didn't show up. For 3 straight days, I saw his car downstairs every night. Sometimes Justin would lean against the car to get some air, a cigarette between his fingers, his dark gaze fixed on my blacked-out window. I couldn't read his expression. All I knew was that my wallet was getting thin. If this kept up, I'd be starving. After weighing my options, I rode my scooter over and stopped in front of him. Justin didn't seem surprised to see me. He said softly, "Done hiding from me?" His tone was strangely gentle. I immediately shook my head. "Leo, you're insane. How could Justin ever be gentle with you? Have you already forgotten all those times you read too much into things? I used to think that maybe, just maybe, Justin liked me a little even if he didn't know it himself. He would frown in displeasure when I chatted with a female colleague, and he'd let me curl up in his arms when I was sick with a fever. In those moments, Justin was almost completely compliant, catering to my every whim. But those moments of warmth were rare. Most of the time, Justin was cold and indifferent. No matter what surprises I planned for him, he always acted detached. The word love just didn't fit him. A hand suddenly covered my face. The warmth of Justin's large hand made my ears burn. I heard him scold me with a hint of anger. "The temperature drops at night. Why aren't you wearing more?" With that, he took off his suit jacket and draped it over my shoulders, wrapping an arm around my stunned body and leading me upstairs. I swallowed hard. A dull ache started in my chest. It felt like being on the verge of happiness, while knowing deep down it was all an illusion. Justin reached into my pocket, unerringly pulled out my keys, and opened the door. He turned on the light and glanced around, his brow furrowing. "This is the kind of place you used to live in?" It was more than good enough. I had lived in a pigsty before. Dave's biological parents treated me horribly. They fed me spoiled leftovers and beat me for the slightest perceived offense. They broke 3-thumb-thick rattan canes on me. If the village chief hadn't stepped in, I probably would have died long ago. I never understood why they hated me. Not until Mr. and Mrs. Kane found me, and I learned I wasn't their child. My very existence was a constant reminder of their crime, so they detested me. But there was no need to tell Justin any of this. He didn't like me. He wouldn't feel sorry for me. I just hummed a soft MHM. Justin turned to look at me, his gaze deep and inscrutable. "Leo, when did you get so quiet?" I stared at him, stunned. The pain in my chest flared up again. I was a quiet person by nature. I only became talkative because Justin was so reserved. If I didn't start conversations, he could go days without messaging me. I couldn't stand his coldness, so I always took the initiative to pester him. Justin, probably because he was just too well-mannered, always replied to my messages. But he would also frown and say coldly, "Don't send me useless things." I didn't get it. It seemed like nothing I did ever satisfied him. He complained when I was loud and complained when I was quiet. If that was the case, why come looking for me? He was reborn, so why wasn't he off rekindling things with his old flame instead of coming here to lecture me? My chest felt tight. I took a deep breath, suppressed my resentment, and tried to politely get rid of him. "Justin, if there's nothing else, you should probably head back." Before I could finish, Justin's eyes narrowed as he took a step toward me. He pinned me against the back of the sofa, his expression ugly. "Why did you stop saying my name?" Only then did I truly see the look in his eyes. It was the sick, crazed look of a man who, having lost his lover and found him again, wanted to pin him down and never let him go anywhere else. I shuddered involuntarily. Justin gently touched my cheek, his voice soft. "What are you trembling for? Are you cold? Let me hold you. You won't be cold then." Before the words were even out of his mouth, Justin pulled me into a tight embrace, like a snake coiling around its prey, squeezing the air from my lungs. Uncomfortable, I tried to push him away. "Justin, let me go, I MMMPH. My eyes flew wide open. Justin's lips crashed onto mine, fierce and out of control. I opened my mouth to say something, but he seized the opportunity to deepen the kiss. He frantically pulled off my shirt, his hand covering my chest a second later, as if desperate to confirm something. Justin knew my body intimately. He knew every one of my sensitive spots. Soon, I went limp in his arms, my eyes red as I gasped his name. Justin. His voice was cold. Say my name like that again, and I'll do this one more time. I didn't dare say it again. My voice trembled as I called out his full name. Justin, you can't. He bent down and nuzzled my lips, his tone unreadable. Can't what? Didn't you used to love this? I swallowed. I did used to love doing this with him. It was the only way I could feel sure that he belonged to me. But now I knew for a fact that he didn't love me, so there was nothing left to confirm. Justin carried me to the bed. I raised a hand to press against his chest. I didn't understand why he was doing this. My only option was to try to keep things from getting worse. I pretended to be hesitant. Justin, I don't have anything here. If we do it like this, I could get sick. Maybe some other time? I was already planning my escape. Keep him calm tonight, and tomorrow I'd run. Run far away, out of his territory, where he'd never find me. Justin gave me no such chance. He pulled 2 bottles of lube and a box of condoms from his pocket. I watched as he slowly unwrapped them, murmuring, "Come to think of it, this is this body's first time. I won't be too rough. I didn't bring too many. You can handle it." My face went pale. We had never done it this many times in my past life. My health was already poor back then, and I could never last more than 3 rounds. Justin wouldn't force me, he'd stop it too. I knew he was never satisfied. Fearing he would find someone else, I would help him in other ways. I had never experienced this kind of intensity. I pressed down on the box. A box like that usually had 6. My fingers curled unconsciously. My voice shook as I begged, "No, Justin. Please don't." Justin held my head and leaned in to kiss me, his voice low and husky. "Weren't you always upset you couldn't get me off properly? What are you afraid of?" He kissed my throat, my collarbone, my chest, his words muffled against my skin. "I won't hurt you." Then, he leaned up again and gave me a reassuring kiss on the lips. His hands moved deftly, unbuckling my belt. He yanked my pants off and tossed them aside. He hooked a finger under my bare knee, coaxing me. "Leo, hold on tight." When I woke up, my whole body felt like it had been run over by a truck. Last night, Justin had been like a madman, completely out of control. The moment he took me, he had whispered, "Leo, I missed you so much." When he said it, his eyes seemed to glisten with tears. Everyone in our circle said Justin was heartless, and it was true. He never grieved for anyone's departure. Even though I had been with him for 10 years, he hadn't shed a single tear after I died. I couldn't understand why his eyes held such sorrow in that moment, and I was even more shocked that he would say something like that. It was the kind of thing lovers would say after a long-awaited reunion, their overwhelming emotions finding release only through repeated declarations of longing. But how could Justin feel such a deep longing for me? I reached out and touched his sweat-slickened face. He lowered his gaze and nuzzled my palm like a wounded lion, and I was the only one who could save him. In that instant, as if possessed, I leaned in and kissed his lips. That one sentence made me act irrationally, and my proactive kiss ignited the last of his self-control. After that, he completely lost it. As I started to get up, the arm around my waist tightened. Justin pulled me closer, tucking me deeper into his embrace. My face was buried in his chest. His deep voice rumbled from above. "Sleep a little longer." I secretly peeked up at him. I had been too panicked yesterday to get a good look at him. Now, seeing him up close, I noticed the dark circles under his eyes. This wasn't the most stressful period of his power struggle with Mr. Kane, so he shouldn't have been this exhausted. But then I remembered, on top of his work, he had been waiting for hours downstairs from my apartment every day. Of course he was tired. A large hand began to gently massage my lower back. Last night, Justin had kissed that spot countless times. With my back to him, I couldn't see his face, but I could feel warm drops landing there. I couldn't tell if it was sweat or tears. Did it hurt back then? Justin asked me. I shook my head. It stopped hurting a long time ago. There used to be a long scar there. That year, Dave, after getting drunk, reverted to his true colors and picked a fight with some thugs fresh out of prison. He got stabbed twice. The doctors said he needed an urgent kidney transplant. I didn't care if Dave lived or died. In fact, a dark part of me thought his death would be a cause for celebration. At the time, Justin and Mr. Kane were locked in a power struggle. Mr. Kane had the backing of old Mr. Kane, giving him a high chance of winning. Justin only had me, a recent college grad who couldn't help with anything. So he chose to secure his position through a marriage alliance. I tried desperately to stop him, only to be dismissed with, "Leo, don't be ridiculous." I was at a dead end when Dave presented an opportunity. I was just trying my luck, but to my surprise, we were a match. I have to say, Mr. Kane and his wife truly loved Dave, the boy who wasn't their son. They signed over the stock transfer agreement without a moment's hesitation. At first, I didn't plan to use this to threaten Justin into a relationship with me. I just didn't want him to get married. I never intended for my love to see the light of day. If Justin didn't feel the same way, I could have kept silent forever, content to be his obedient, sensible little nephew. But things didn't go as planned. Before the surgery, I sent Justin a message saying I was going abroad for a few days. That way, if he ever saw my scar, I could claim I'd been stabbed overseas, and he wouldn't be able to verify it. I knew he had a distant relationship with the rest of the Kanes and wouldn't visit Dave, so he wouldn't discover I was the donor. And Mr. and Mrs. Kane, unsure of Justin's feelings for me, wouldn't say anything. We all agreed on a story. If Justin asked about the stock transfer, they would say they felt they owed me after all these years and wanted to compensate me. It was all planned perfectly. But I forgot that Justin was suspicious by nature. After I gave him the stock transfer agreement, he had someone check my flight records. When he found out I hadn't left the country, he immediately had the hospital's records investigated. That was the first time I had ever seen such a dark expression on Justin's face. For the first time, he kicked open my door without a shred of his usual composure, grabbed my face, and demanded coldly, "Where did you get the transfer agreement?" He had asked the same question 2 hours earlier. I suddenly remembered his expression then. Not happy or relieved, but grave. His gaze was bottomless, and if you looked closely, you could see flames leaping within it. I should have known then that he was suspicious, but I was too happy. With this agreement, Justin wouldn't have to go through with the marriage. I swallowed nervously and repeated what I had said before. My parents. Justin cut me off viciously. "Leo, you dare lie to me again." The hand gripping my jaw tightened, his control slipping. The pain made me gasp. Justin felt no pity. His eyes were ice. I felt wronged, and my eyes instantly reddened. A surge of resentment rose in my heart. "I did it for you. If I hadn't, you would have had to marry someone you don't love. I was just trying to help." Justin's voice suddenly rose. "Do I need you to worry about that? Tomorrow I'm making Dave give that kidney back. From now on, you will behave. If you ever dare to act on your own again, I'll break your legs." He couldn't get it back. Putting aside whether old Mr. Kane would even allow it, the simple fact that my kidney had been in Dave's body for over 10 days made removing it a risky proposition. Every surgery has risks. Even with your own kidney, there's a chance of rejection after that much time. Unless my other kidney failed, a second surgery wasn't recommended. The risk was too great. Justin must have heard this from the hospital because he was so angry he didn't come home for days. He wouldn't reply to my messages, but he did replace my chef. The old chef, Chef Wong, was from New Orleans and always made the spicy, flavorful food I loved. The new chef's cooking was incredibly bland. There were many things he wouldn't make for me, and when I asked why, the answer was always, "The boss doesn't allow it." The only person who contacted me during that time was a lawyer, who told me Justin wouldn't accept my shares. He told me to tell you to get as far away from him as possible. I had a feeling he wasn't saying that to the lawyer. He was saying it to me. Justin wouldn't answer my messages, but I could still find out what he was up to. A private investigator told me that 3 days ago, Justin had gone and beaten up Mr. Kane. Old Mr. Kane almost got hit too. He'd been in a blind rage, disowning everyone as he dragged Dave toward the hospital. 3 days ago, I calculated the time and understood. Right after blowing up at me, Justin had gone to negotiate the kidneys' return with Mr. and Mrs. Kane. It must not have gone well, so he beat them up. I thought to myself that Justin must still care about me. I would wait for him to cool down and then bring up the shares again. I waited a month. I didn't get Justin. I got the news of his engagement. When I saw it trending online, my mind went blank. It took a long moment to process before my trembling hands dialed his number. As usual, Justin didn't answer. He seemed to be fed up with me. Without a second thought, I rushed to his office. That day, Justin and I had the biggest fight of our lives. Finally, with tears streaming down my face, I spat out, "If you're going to sell yourself to Chloe, you might as well sell yourself to me." The moment the words left my mouth, I knew there was no turning back. I saw the bewildered look on Justin's face and gave a twisted smile. "I love you, Justin. Since you're willing to give yourself to someone else, you might as well give yourself to me. Justin, try me. The taste of a virgin has to be..." Smack! Justin slammed a file into my face. He didn't hold back. My face stung, but my heart hurt more. Along with the file came his heart-stabbing curse. He said, "Leo, you're fucking disgusting." He also said, "I genuinely love Chloe. Don't you dare get any funny ideas." For someone as cold and detached as Justin to say he loved someone, it must have been a deep, true love. Perhaps that sentence broke me. After 2 sleepless nights, I kidnapped the woman he loved. The sea wind howled and whipped around us. I watched Justin, who had finally arrived, and gave him a choice. Be with me, or become a pair of star-crossed lovers with Chloe, separated by death. Justin stood expressionless on the deck, the wind whipping his black coat. The sky was dim, and his face was colder than the November sea. Watching him, I suddenly laughed. I understood. Justin didn't love me. Even with a life on the line, he wouldn't even lie to me. I never actually planned to do anything to Chloe. I wouldn't dare. I just wanted to push Justin to make him agree to be with me. Even if he wasn't willing, as long as he was by my side, that was enough. But meeting Justin's razor-sharp gaze, I suddenly didn't want it anymore. I threw Chloe toward him, turned around, and jumped into the sea. Perhaps the wicked have long lives because I was rescued. But my health was even worse. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, Justin was, once again, nowhere to be seen. I didn't go home. I didn't message him. I called up some bad news friends and went to a bar, planning to drink my wretched life away. If I was tough enough to survive this, then I would give up on Justin. Heaven had given me so many chances, it was time to live for myself for once. I was just starting to feel the buzz when the bar door was violently kicked open, slamming against the wall with a deafening crash. Justin strode in, his face ashen. His icy gaze locked onto me, and he roared, "All of you, get out!" The room fell silent. I sat there, a little dazed, not understanding why he was so furious. He radiated hostility. In a single stride, he was on me, smashing my glass on the floor. He grabbed my chest, pushed me down onto the sofa, and snarled through gritted teeth, "The second I take my eyes off you, you run out here to kill yourself, is that it?" He made a vicious assumption. "Trying to hurt yourself to make me be with you? Leo, do you really think I give a damn about your pathetic life?" It was like a knife to the heart. It hurt so much. Justin always knew how to find my most vulnerable spots and tear my heart to shreds. All the fight went out of me. I let him pin me down like a rag doll without any struggle. A dark thought surfaced. If I was so despicable in his eyes, then I might as well make him hate me. Hate, perhaps, lasts longer than love. I curled my lips into a lazy smirk, lifted my eyelids, and deliberately provoked him. "Yeah, I did it on purpose. Since you don't care, then go home. Don't let me be an eyesore. And don't worry, even if I drink myself to death here tonight, I won't have the morgue call." "Leo." Justin's face was cold. He slapped me. My cheek instantly swelled, a testament to the force he'd used. He grabbed my throat and sneered, his eyes burning with rage. Suddenly, he chuckled, his expression turning terrifyingly sinister. "Fine, Leo. You win. If this is what you want, I'll give it to you. With that, he flipped me over and ripped a hole in my pants. I flinched in fear. He didn't soothe me. He didn't mock me. He just treated me brutally. He took the newly healed flesh of my scar between his teeth and bit down without a shred of mercy, using me to vent his fury. I think I passed out from the pain. I'm the kind of person who never learns his lesson. The moment Justin showed me the slightest bit of kindness, I'd come crawling back. I thought that if we were physically intimate, he would have to treat me differently from everyone else. Maybe, with time, he would grow to love me. He didn't refuse me anymore. Once my wounds healed, he let me climb into his bed. He was never gentle in bed, but after that first time, no matter how rough or urgent he would always kiss the scar on my waist with extra care, as if he was afraid of hurting me, or as if hurting it would hurt him too. I was always greedy for that tiny shred of compassion, and it was that little bit of warmth that kept me going for 10 years. I don't know when I fell asleep again, but when I woke up, I wasn't in my apartment anymore. The familiar decor was disorienting. This was Justin's office. In my past life, I was afraid I couldn't satisfy him and that he'd go out and find escorts. When he didn't come home, I would come here to sleep with him. There was a private bathroom. It was very convenient. After washing up, I walked out and my eyes met Justin's. He beckoned to me. "You're awake? Come eat." I walked over to the table and was about to sit across from him when he spoke, his voice low. "You're not sitting with me?" I looked at his shadowed face, paused, and then remembered. In the past, right after we slept together, I would be incredibly clingy. I had to sit between his legs while we ate, leaning against him. Back then, Justin wouldn't push me away. I stood frozen, trying to refuse with silence. Justin just watched me. After a long moment, he walked over, scooped me into his arms, and said flatly, "The lighting is better over here." I sat on Justin's lap, held in his arms as he fed me. He was like a model lover, showing his partner absolute patience and care after their first time together. I almost laughed at my own comparison. How could I dare compare myself to Justin's lover? If he heard that, he would surely frown in disgust and yell at me to get lost. I tried to take the bowl and eat by myself, but he wouldn't let me. He moved his hand away and said softly, "Let me take care of you. I wasn't good to you before." My throat tightened. I desperately wanted to demand what he meant by that, but a moment later, clarity returned. There was no point. Hadn't I been delusional enough in my past life? Back then, whenever Justin was a little nice to me, I would ask if he liked me, even just a little. And Justin would always look at me with those unfathomable eyes and spit out two cold words. "I don't." I repeated it to myself silently. Don't have any more expectations for Justin. He doesn't love you. The meal was eaten in silence. Justin treated me like a child, feeding me until I was full before he ate his own now cold food. I struggled to get away, but he wouldn't let me go. He held my waist, nuzzled his chin against my hair, and whispered, "Stay with me." I couldn't break free, so I had no choice but to let him. After dinner, Justin got up to clear the table. I finally escaped his grasp, straightened my clothes, and headed for the door. I hadn't even reached it before he blocked my way. "Where are you going?" "To make money. I still haven't saved up enough for tuition." Justin handed me a credit card and ruffled my hair. "You have money now. No more food delivery. You've gotten too thin." I wanted to say something else, but Justin's lips captured mine first, kissing me deeply and urgently. After a long time, he finally let me go. His gaze was incredibly tender as he raised a hand to brush the back of it against my cheek. His voice held a hint of pleading. "I haven't seen you in so long, Leo. Stay with me, please?" Whether I agreed or not didn't really matter. He wouldn't let me leave anyway. It was like he had some kind of disease that required me to be by his side. I stopped struggling. I took the card, curled up in the break room, and started writing code and playing the stock market. I actually knew how to make money fast. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to start my own gaming company in my past life. But to make money, you first need money. After being reborn, I could barely afford food and rent, let alone play the stock market. I'd agonize for ages over buying a single scratch ticket. Since Justin was willing to provide the startup capital, I might as well borrow his money for now. I spent over 2 hours in the break room coding. Just as I stretched, I caught a glimpse of Justin out of the corner of my eye. He had been standing at the door for who knows how long, staring at me with a strange look in his eyes. I spoke hesitantly. Is something wrong? Justin didn't answer. He strode over, wrapped his arms around me, held the back of my neck, and kissed me. He held my head, not letting me escape. He only stopped when I was breathless and pushed against him. He rested his nose against mine, his voice low and hoarse. You didn't come looking for me for 2 hours. If you listened closely, you could hear a subtle hint of grievance. Okay. I used to be very clingy with Justin. I couldn't stay in the break room for more than a few minutes without going to check on him. If I couldn't resist, I'd run over and steal a kiss, then dash away before he could get angry. Sometimes I'd get him all worked up, and he'd pin me down for a lesson. Only when I swore I'd behave would he mercifully let me go. But I never listened. Being so quiet in the break room now was definitely out of character. I paused and finally asked the question. Justin, I don't love you anymore. Isn't this what you wanted? You don't love me anyway. You can go get married, marry your perfect girl, live your own life. I've set you free. Why are you still clinging to me? Justin looked down, meeting my gaze. A flicker of pain crossed his eyes. After a long moment, he raised a hand to cover my eyes and said hoarsely, Leo, I'm not falling for your tricks again. I lost you once because I believed your lies. I won't make the same mistake this time. I blinked slowly and asked him, what are you talking about? Justin buried his head in the crook of my neck, his muffled voice reaching my ear. You told your friends you were just playing with me. You said you'd never had someone as cold and exciting as me, and that as soon as I fell for you, you'd dump me. You also told a lineup of male models at a club to wait, that you'd shower them with attention as soon as you had me. Before I heard that, I had already fallen for you. I was planning to confess after I got through that busy period. I was going to take you to Italy for our anniversary, to make up for all the years I'd neglected you. He let out a derisive laugh. But then I heard what you said. In that moment I was furious, but more than that I was terrified. I was afraid that if you knew I loved you, you'd leave me. I wanted to laugh out of anger. Justin, could your excuse be any lamer? I'd rather you give me some cliché about not understanding love or not knowing how to love someone. Anything would be better than this. Justin said in a low voice, I'm not lying. It was that time we fought over Chloe and you went out drinking. I vaguely remembered. There was a period when Justin was incredibly busy. Worried he would forget to eat, I brought him meals every day. One day, he told me he had plans and that I shouldn't come. I was already at his building, so I thought I'd just pop in to say hi, maybe steal a kiss. But then I saw him downstairs with Chloe. The thought that Justin was seeing his old flame behind my back made me lose my mind. I ran over and started grilling him, even giving Chloe a shove in a completely classless move. Justin angrily shielded Chloe and scolded me. It wasn't the first time I'd seen that reprimanding look in his eyes, but it still hurt, especially when he held Chloe and walked away. The feeling of injustice and bitterness peaked. In a fit of anger, I ran to a bar to get drunk. I thought back carefully. I think I really did say I was just playing with Justin. Justin said that wasn't Chloe. It was her twin sister, Zoe. You already made an enemy of the Sue family when you kidnapped Chloe. Zoe was pregnant at the time, and it was a high-risk pregnancy. The baby was barely 4 months along. If you had made her miscarry, even I couldn't have protected you completely. You would have paid dearly. I was stunned for a long moment before I said, so your attitude toward me changed so drastically back then. It wasn't because I hurt your precious Chloe? Justin shook his head. Chloe isn't the one I love. I lied to you back then. I wanted you to see the error of your ways. I didn't explain later because I wanted you to feel a sense of crisis so you wouldn't abandon me. A sour ache spread through my chest. A mist formed in my eyes, and my voice choked. Justin, be honest. How much did I love you back then? How could I possibly have done that to you? You condemned me based on a few drunken words I said when I was angry. If I really didn't love you, would I have given up a kidney for you? Would I have followed you around so humbly? Justin wiped my tears, his own eyes red. He pulled me into his arms, patting my back again and again as he softly explained. I was furious at first. But after I calmed down, I thought, if you didn't love me, why would you trade your own kidney for 10% of my company's stock? Just as I was starting to think clearly, I overheard someone ask you about it. You said you had to do it proactively, because once Mr. and Mrs. Kane found another donor, you wouldn't get anything. Now you had the 10% stake to do me a favor. Later, even if you got tired of me and we broke up, if you ran into trouble starting your own business, you could guilt-trip me into funding you. You couldn't lose. It all made perfect, logical sense. I had no choice but to believe it. The more I loved you, the more I feared losing you, so I grew colder and colder, until you died. The moment I heard the news, it felt like all emotion, sound, and color had abandoned me. It was like I was trapped in a gray glass jar, and the whole world became unreal. I didn't know what to do. I just went through the motions of my old life like a walking corpse. Then one day, I ran into a spiritual master on the street. He told me there was a little ghost haunting my house, and if it didn't enter the cycle of reincarnation soon, it would dissipate. My gut told me it was you. In that moment, I woke up. The master told me you had lingered in the mortal world for too long. To enter the cycle of reincarnation, you had to be burned by the sun to appease the wrath of the underworld's king. It was best if it was voluntary. If not, someone you trusted would have to capture your spirit with a blessed artifact to save you from suffering during the transition. I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill you. I wanted to take a gamble that maybe you did love me. So I made a deal with Chloe to put on that show. I won the bet, but I also lost. I lost you all over again. Listening to Justin, tears streamed down my face. My heart was filled with a bitter sorrow that climbed up to my tongue. I curled up in on myself, as if that could make the pain go away. Justin didn't say any more. He just held me quietly, endlessly stroking my back. After that day, my relationship with Justin became strange, awkward in a way I couldn't describe. He seemed determined to make up for all the things I had asked him to do in the past that he had refused. My old requests were clingy and obsessive, but Justin didn't seem to find anything wrong with them. And his memory was annoyingly good. He remembered every single request, and when I had made it, I couldn't even pretend he was misremembering. That night, Justin asked if I could forgive him and give him another chance. I didn't answer. Honestly, I still loved him. I knew my heart would always lose control when it came to him. But the gut-wrenching pain of those 10 years wasn't so easily erased. My passion had been worn away by one defeat after another. Justin sensed my silence and didn't ask again. He just became insecure and needy, always wanting to stick to me. He seemed to have become the old me, needing to hug me every so often, begging for a kiss, or seeking reassurance of my feelings through intense lovemaking. As the start of the semester approached, Justin held me in his arms, showing me pictures of apartments near UCLA. He rested his chin on the top of my head, his fingers slowly flipping through the pages. I've rented a few places near your university. Pick one. I'll move in with you. My body stiffened almost imperceptibly. Justin was watching my every reaction. He saw it. As if realizing something, he asked me, "Where did you apply?" I turned and looked at the corners of his eyes, which were slowly turning red. I took the acceptance letter from the nightstand. Justin probably assumed I had chosen UCLA like last time, so he hadn't paid any attention to the letter. I had considered whether to tell him, but then I figured he would find out sooner or later. Every day I could delay, it was another day of happiness for him. Justin stared at the words Boston University, completely lost. Took him a long moment to find his voice. He tried his best to keep it from trembling as he said, "It's fine. Boston is great too. Travel is so convenient now. I'll come see you often." He was trying to comfort himself, as if saying it out loud could make him ignore the pain of me not being by his side. That night, he held me and didn't sleep at all. I could hear him get out of bed to smoke, but I didn't go to comfort him. The truth was, I didn't believe him. I didn't believe Justin loved me. How could he suddenly love me? That's why I was scared. Every second I spent with him, I was terrified. I was afraid that the disruption in space-time had damaged his brain, making him mistakenly believe he loved me. If that was the case, then one day he would wake up, and I would be nothing but a poor, abandoned creature all over again. In the following days, Justin became even more inseparable from me. He seemed to want to chain me to his belt, taking me everywhere he went. He even insisted we shower together. He pressed me against the bathroom wall, his breath hot as he bit my ear. "Leo, don't fall for anyone else. Wait for me." My fingers curled slightly, but I said nothing. Justin bit my shoulder, and I couldn't tell if the liquid rolling down my back was hot water or his scalding tears. Justin drove me to campus for the start of the semester. Worried I'd get bullied, he prepared gifts for my roommates. They all laughed and said I had a great uncle. I didn't comment. Before he left, Justin held me and said, "You have to message me back, or I'll worry." Perhaps afraid I would just brush him off again. He nuzzled my neck and said in a muffled, pleading voice, "Leo, I'm begging you." My heart clenched. In the end, I softened and nodded. From the moment he got in the car, Justin's messages were a constant barrage of cheesy sweet nothings and updates on his schedule. He said he would come visit, but it was hard for him to make it happen. To see me, he had to finish several days' worth of work in advance just to free up some time. But it wasn't like we never saw each other. Justin video called me frequently, 3 times a day. It got to the point where my roommates suspected I was some kind of giant baby. I suddenly regretted not listening to Justin and moving out. After hanging up with him, I had a dream. In the dream, Justin was wearing a black coat, standing before a gravestone, his expression cold. I followed his gaze and saw my own photo on it. I realized this might not be a dream, but something that happened in my past life. Justin knelt on one knee, carefully wiping my picture. The photo was new. It looked like I hadn't been dead for long. He placed a bouquet of gardenias in front of my grave, leaned down to kiss my photo, and whispered, "Don't be afraid, Leo. I'm here to join you." He reached for the Swiss Army knife at his waist, his gaze determined, and ruthlessly slashed his wrist. My face paled. I rushed forward to grab the knife, but my hand passed right through it. Blood gushed out. Justin's lips began to turn white. He leaned his head against my tombstone, a faint smile on his lips. "Leo, if there's a next life, can we start over?" The only answer was the whistling of the desolate wind. I bolted awake, my chest tight and my whole body aching. I had a desperate need to hear Justin's voice. I frantically fumbled for my phone, only to see it was just 4 a.m. At this hour, Justin was long asleep. He always went to bed early, by 11:30 p.m. I stared blankly at my phone, watching the seconds and minutes tick by. It wasn't until the clock hit 7 that I got out of bed and went to the stairwell to make the call. The phone rang twice before he picked up, his voice urgent. "Leo, what happened?" Since my rebirth, I had never once called him first. When he saw my call, his immediate assumption was that something was wrong. I gripped the phone tightly, my voice already tinged with tears. I asked him, "Justin, in our last life, did you die for me?" There was a long silence on the other end before he finally spoke. "No." "Did you have a nightmare?" Tears streamed down my face. "Justin, if you lie to me again, I'm really done with you." Justin sighed softly. Finally, he said, "It's all in the past, Leo. We're both okay now." I leaned my back against the wall and slowly sank to the floor, finally letting my weakness show. I choked out between sobs, "Justin, I want to see you. Can you come find me?" There was no hesitation on the other end. "Wait for me." I didn't tell him. This time, if he came, I would forget the past and start over with him. For hours later, I met Justin at the school gate. I didn't wait for him to speak. I just grabbed his hand and pulled him toward a hotel. After checking in, I kissed him urgently, tearing at his clothes and pushing him toward the bed. Justin held me, his heart aching. He gently squeezed the back of my neck, helping me regulate my ragged breathing. Under his gentle kisses, I finally broke down, burying my face in his chest and crying my heart out. Justin rocked me in his arms, his voice hoarse as he soothed me. "Don't be sad. It's all my fault. Good boy, don't cry. Okay?" The more he comforted me, the harder I cried. Justin just held me, clumsily trying to calm me down. I clung to his waist and cried until I was a mess. When I finally cried myself out, Justin got up and brought me a glass of water. "Your voice is all hoarse. Have some water." I took a few sips from his hand, my emotions slowly calming. I took a deep breath and, finally making my decision, said, "Justin, let's start over." The hand holding the glass trembled. It took him a long moment to slowly turn his face toward me. He cupped my face, his voice raspy. "Will you feel wronged? It's okay to forgive me slowly." I sniffled and shook my head. Putting myself in his shoes, if I had heard those things, I would have probably reacted the same way. Justin put the glass down and hugged me, nuzzling my cheek, his voice trembling. "Thank you, Leo." Justin's extra chapter. When Leo's soul dissipated in front of me, the pain was so intense I couldn't breathe. I coughed up a mouthful of blood on the spot. When I woke up again, I stared at the empty room and was suddenly hit with the realization that Leo was truly gone. After he died, my mind was in a haze. I refused to accept that he was gone, so I tricked myself into believing he was still alive, just away on a long trip. Now, having watched him die before my very eyes, I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I finally went to the police station to collect his belongings. The officer said, there was a cake in the car, but it was too old. We only took a picture. The cake was so stained with blood you couldn't tell what it originally looked like. I suddenly remembered. Leo had been speeding when he hit the road barrier. The answer surfaced in my mind. He had been rushing back to celebrate my birthday. Leo's health was poor, yet he always stayed up late writing code. To break him of this habit, I had told him I go to bed at 11:30 sharp. If you come back late, you can sleep in the guest room. I never waited for him. If he wasn't back, I'd lock the door. Over time, he got used to sleeping early. My strength suddenly gave out, and I collapsed to the floor, clutching a box, laughing and crying at the same time. Inside the box was the birthday gift Leo had prepared for me. A string of blessed prayer beads, engraved with 8 words, "Peace and joy, forever of one heart." I took the gift he gave me and went to the temple where he got it. I wanted to know if he had made any wishes. Among the thousands of prayer ribbons, I found Leo's wish. Others came here to pray. He came here to vent. "Justin is a fucking asshole. Bastard. Would it kill you to love me back? I've loved you for so long." A sharp pain shot through my heart, and tears fell. I was such a fool. Why didn't I ever believe that he loved me? I went into the main hall, wrote 2 words on a new ribbon, and hung it next to his. "Wait for me." Before I took my own life, I donated all my assets to that temple. I begged it to give me one more chance. If I could do it all over again, I would cherish Leo. This time, it would be my turn to love you.